Hello and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be on how to properly rotate your tires, check for tire wear, and check for brake wear. Today we have a 2011 Ford Fusion we'll be working on. Here is some of the tools that I use to complete the job. With all these tools, you can do it at home easily. And some of these tools you wouldn't even need. It's just that if you want to make it handier, you could do it by hand. You don't need an air compressor. You could do everything by hand if you want. I just have the air compressor, so I chose to go that route. So air compressor, torque wrench, torque sticks, pry bar, sockets, extensions, tire pressure tester, air inflator, tread depth tool, your standard floor jack, a jack stand, and then I just use some 2x4s for blocking the wheels or whatever you need them for. Okay, let's get started. So first you're going to want to jack up the car and then put a jack stand under the front, is how I did it. And then go to the back of the car and find an area on the frame where you can jack it there. Just so you have the tires off the ground, as you can see. Then just put it under the frame. You should be able to find a place on the front part of the frame and on the rear part of the frame. Next, you're going to want to take your pry bar. For this car has hubcaps. Take your pry bar and take off the hubcaps. And there you'll see your lug nuts, and which you'll have to take loose. And then your wheels will come off. Next, take your impact wrench and socket. Simply remove all 5 lug nuts. Front. Now let's do the back. Okay, now that you got that done, you can remove the wheels. As you can see, now your brake pads and calipers are exposed. And this car has just recently had brakes put in it. And as you can see, the brake pads are like new. Notice the thickness right here on both sides. See how thick they are? Now if they were worn down, they'd be really thin and almost to the metal part. The part right here. The metal part of the brake pad. But as you can see, they're pretty thick. And then this part here, of course, is your rotor. And this is on the rear brakes on the 2011 Ford Fusion. Okay, let's go up to the front. As you can see, the front, same way. You can sneak through here and kind of see how thick. These pads are in very good shape as well. As you can see the thickness of them. Right in this area here. There's your metal brake pad, where the brake pad itself attaches to. And right here you can see the thickness of the brakes, the pad itself. So this car, the brakes weren't done that long ago. Barely, just like new. Basically the pads, front and back, are in perfect shape. So that's how you check your brake pads, brake wear. So this car won't have to have anything done to the brakes at this point. Now let's move on and look at the tires for wear. This tire came off the rear. And as you can see, when you look across the tire, it's worn pretty evenly. It's getting down there in tread, but it's still okay. And as you can visually see just by looking at it, the tire wear is pretty evenly across, so that's good. So then what we have is you take your tread depth finder tool, this tool here, and basically what you're going to want to do is you want to stick it in between the treads, like so. And then you basically want to measure. It has numbers on it, 30 seconds. You'll see the numbers, and basically just want to stick it in between the treads, push down on it, and then do that all the way across. I have 4 spots I can check on this tire with the tread. And then basically what you do is you write down your tread numbers for all 4 of them, and then when you get done you can see where you're at, and they should be pretty even. If it turns out your tread isn't even, a good indication that your tire was run low is basically you'll wear the sides of the tire out first. So in other words, the outer part of the tire will be worn more than the center part of the tire. And if your tires are overinflated, have too much air in them, then basically you're going to wear the center out. The center of the tire will be wore out more than the outside edges of the tire. Now let's go up to the front tire. Check the front tire. Basically same thing. You can visually inspect the tire first. And as you can see, this tire looks like it's wore good as well. It's pretty much straight across. Now, if I was to check, and this is the front tire. So front tires are more apt to wear, if you have an alignment problem, than the rear, of course. Even though the rear tires can wear on the sides as well, but it's more apt to happen on a front tire because that's where your steering is. So basically, if you look at your front tire, and there again, if the middle part of the tire is wore too much, then that means you overinflated the tire. If the outer edges of the tire wore too much, that means you underinflated the tire. And you can find your proper air pressure specs for your car. Usually it's on the driver's side door when you open it up in the door right in the door jamb area. As you can see, it tells you what size tires your car takes and then where to put the pressure, front and rear both. This car calls for 31 psi on front and rear with a tire size of 225 50 R17s, which is correct. That's what we have for a correct tire. So going back to the tire wear, if you take your front tire off and you notice one side of the tire is wore more than the other, in other words, say the right side is wore down a lot more than the left, or they're both wore, or one side is wore, then that means you probably have an alignment problem. So you'll have to get a wheel alignment either at your local dealership or your local repair shop. And same way with the rear, you can have a rear alignment be off too, but it's not as common as a front wheel alignment being off. And then just make sure you check your tires to make sure they're properly inflated. And that's basically all you can do for your tire wear. And as long as your alignment's on and your tires are properly inflated, basically that's all you can do to ensure you're going to get the most wear out of your tires. So after checking the brake wear and checking the tire wear, this car seems like it's been taken care of pretty well. Whoever's had it had the work done to it. The owner seemed pretty cautious about doing all the maintenance as they should have. Brakes are like new. Tires are wore good. Tires are properly inflated. And like I said, that's about all you can do to ensure that your car is going to stop like it should, that you're going to get the most out of your tire wear. Your tires are going to last as long as they should. Because remember, if your tires are over inflated, you're going to have a problem with tire wear. And if your tires are underinflated, you're going to have a problem with premature tire wear. So just make sure you take your tire tester. You can either use a digital one, like what I have, or I also have a manual one as well, the old style. And maybe once a week, if it's convenient, just to keep an eye on your tire pressure and make sure they're properly inflated. And then you can also eyeball it too, like if you come out to your car and just kind of look, make sure you don't have a low tire, you can kind of get a quick look at it that way too. And that's about all you can do. Looks like this car should be good to go, so we'll put the wheels and hubcaps back on it, and torque the wheels down, and should be ready for the road again. So, and this one here, you can either look on the internet, or sometimes your manual will say what the proper torque specs are for retightening your lug nuts. I have a torque wrench here which I use. And according to the manual for this car has steel wheels, so this car would take 80 foot-pounds. So after you get all the lug nuts put on, and you can just snug them down by hand, and then drop the car down one at a time, the front and the rear. And then as the tire hits the ground, comes in contact with the ground, you have the weight of the car on there. That way the tire won't move when you go to torque the wheel nuts. And like I said, just go around, cross from each other, all 5 of them, and then torque them 80 foot-pounds. Then after you get them torqued back on, put your hubcaps back on, snap them back on, and you're ready to go. So, thanks for watching. In time, we'll have more videos, helpful videos to show you guys. In the meantime, if you like this video, can you give it a watch and subscribe, or give it a like and subscribe to our channel? We'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching.